we're done here. She has served as the executive director of the Georgia Consortium for Financial Literacy for the last 13 years. Before taking the position of executive director, Nancy served as the education committee chairman and served on the board of the consortium. She served for 3 years as part-time associate director of the Foundation for Financial Planning. She worked for 18 years for Dow Jones and Company, publisher of the Wall Street Journal. For 9 of those years, she was the Southern Regional Representative of the Education Service Bureau of Dow Jones with primary responsibilities for evaluating and promoting the use of Wall Street Journal on college campuses. Great stuff. Her last 9 years with Dow Jones, she was in charge of national teacher training and sponsorship development for the Wall Street Journal Classroom Edition. The Wall Street Journal Classroom Edition was seen as an entrepreneurial endeavor with Dow Jones. As you can see, her resume is extensive, wealth of experience, knowledge. Like I said, she's somebody to know. I'll let you all read the rest. But I'd like to introduce Ms. Nancy Schwartzmiller. I'm so happy that you're here. Thank you so much.
Okay, I hope none of y'all had calculators to figure out how old I am. Don't do it. I try to hide that. You know, it was really interesting when you said that, because I do recognize a lot of faces from the consortium, and I'm thrilled. This is what the consortium is all about: is networking and plugging people in who have resources, who have different educational experiences that they can pass along to the needs of the community. That is really what the consortium is all about. Raise your hand so I know how many people do know about the consortium. Just raise your hand so I can see you. Okay, well let me do a quick. So I apologize for repeating myself to y'all, but just to give you a quick 2-second history. The consortium started in 1997. Yes, that's a long time ago. Also, it started from a group of individual organizations that saw where we were going in financial literacy, where we were not going in financial literacy, and wanted to do things that were more preventative in nature. Those groups were the Community Foundation of Greater Atlanta, the Federal Reserve Bank, the what was at that time the Consumer Credit Counseling Service, Junior Achievement, and the Georgia Council on Economic Education. And when those groups came together, they basically brainstormed for about a year. And then in 1997, they said, well, let's see who else is interested in what's going on in financial literacy. And so they convened a meeting at the Federal Reserve, and we had over about 110, 115 people show up who were in financial services, nonprofit, government, everybody across the board. And it was very, very exciting because we also realized there are a lot more people who share this passion. And I feel like Venus, I'm so excited about what you're doing because she's really firing people up with this Money Smart campaign. So what we were trying to do at this exact same time is bring people together to discuss the issues. And what our board then brought together was we need to foster collaborative research, collaborative efforts. We also need to convene meetings such as this to see what's on the pulse. What is the pulse of financial literacy? What are people most concerned about? We've received grants for everything from women at risk to senior citizens to elementary school kids. So we would do different work according to that and bring groups together to discuss those things. But our real drive was to raise awareness. And I think awareness, obviously, in the last 6 to 7 years, financial literacy is a buzzword. I mean, people who never knew what financial literacy was, financial empowerment, financial life skills, whatever you want to call it, capabilities, everything, there were people that were not engaged in that. But when everything started coming apart, what we realized is we've got to do something. We've got to do it, as we first started, as preventative, but we also take care of our senior citizens. I mean, they're living on fixed income, and their predators are at the door trying to get what little money they do have. So we really do need to find all those audiences. And so anyway, one of the pieces that we try to do is, I almost feel like it's a consortium. I'm not going to compare this at all, but it's almost like a church. We want to equip people, counselors, caseworkers, government folks, consumers, with information and resources within their very communities. If you read our white paper, there's tons of stuff out there. We do not need to reinvent the wheel. And I love that Nancy's just saying, here's what Chicago's doing. Chicago Fed knows what they're doing. They are in the lead. Chicago, Atlanta, St. Louis, Richmond, they're the lead of educational product development within the Fed. So you don't need to go out and recreate. So I applaud you on that. And that was part of our white paper too. We don't need to go recreate. We need to connect. So we pull people together. Just last week, we realized that a lot of people aren't aware of what's coming up. The FICO new score is going to impact consumers. It's going to impact lenders. It's going to impact across the board. And so we had a meeting on that at the Federal Reserve Bank to kind of bring people together on that. Also research. What are some of the life experiences that cause some of the main kind of downturns in financial capabilities within the family, within the individual? So it's really important that we get a hold of that. So trying to bring these different people together are really important. So I think from the standpoint of equipping people and hoping to be a catalyst to connect folks, because we want as many people to get involved in as many projects as possible. We were talking the other day in 2008, as you may remember, there were not only were a lot of things going on in the financial world, the banks were all eating up each other, so we had all this different level of support with the consortium. The consortium is 100% volunteer. I'm the only part-time staff member. My husband says I work 6 to 7 days a week, but I don't turn that in. But that's the type of thing. What we did is we realized we didn't have any funding. All these guys were eating each other up, and I didn't know the head of the new bank. I didn't know the head of the new whatever. But what we realized is within our consortium, which many of you are here, but there's 1,600 people across the state. So within our consortium, we have people who live within a circle of influence to make a difference in a time that was a very difficult time for everybody, regardless of where you were economically before. You might not be there anymore, regardless of your education level, regardless of many different attributes. And so what we did is we said, wait a minute, we did more education in 2009 without any funding, which is a lot of what's going on, because if you have the answer and you have a gentleman who can go out and help within his neighborhood, or a woman who can help within her church, or someone who can help within their agency or workplace, the lunch and learn, the more people you could train. So we did more training that year because we basically said, go out and to help people because everybody needed help at that point. So we were really very, very energized in that. We also want to be more of a clearinghouse for resources, for activities and events, for community calendar of activities and events, because just as Mia said, it is so fragmented that people don't know quite where to turn, and if you don't know where to turn and you just start looking, it's overwhelming. The CFPB board is doing a great job of trying to trim some of that down. Federal Reserve is as well, trying to trim the educational materials that are out there so they really meet the needs. Because if you don't know about something, you go to look for it, you just close the book and say, or the computer and say, I don't know where to start, so I won't start. And that's the worst answer we can get. We need people engaged in education, that they get it from the very beginning. It speaks to them. Whether it's a guy in a Superman costume, or it's a lecture situation, or one-on-one coaching. We need to reach people where they are in the way in which they need to be reached. So different strategies and researching different strategies is also really important to the consortium. But anyway, so to say all that is just to say that we stand here since 1997 as hopefully as a funnel, for the lack of a better word. A funnel to bring in information and help organize it, and a funnel that has the other end to turn people out and say, go find where you can plug in. So if we can help you know about Money Smart Week or about some of the other efforts that are going on, we want you to be plugged in. A lot of people say, well, is this being competitive with this? No, this issue is huge. We all have to link arms and help where we can. And so I am thrilled. I'm thrilled that I'm amazed by your energy. I'm thrilled by your excitement. And I think that working together, everybody kind of seeing where the gaps are, because we know where good education is taking place, but where are the gaps? Because there are people getting left behind. We've been active with one of the other pieces of the consortium when we bring people together is to convene some of those focus groups. We were just just within the last couple of weeks. We also convened the CFP board came to Atlanta, and we were the host for the workplace financial education. That's a huge area. We have to figure out life's teachable moments. Workplace financial education. My goodness, they're starting a new job and they have all that paperwork in front of them. They're not going to read it all. But how do you get them to engage in what's important? How do you get them to see the red flags that regardless of which job you're going to, when it starts talking about healthcare, when it starts talking about 401k, when it starts talking about scholarships for your kids, these are important things. And these are things that will change your financial stability and capability. So we again applaud everything that you're doing. We're very excited to be a partner with you, and we hope that many more consortium folks will engage in what you're doing. And I stand ready to help. I used to be the one up here saying, "Are there any questions?" and being the Oprah Winfrey dialogue person. So this is not my cup of tea. And I will say that I guess God has a sense of humor because my glasses broke this morning, so I am sitting here with all the fun things I typed out and can't see a thing. So that's why I asked you, yeah, are you a 2.0? And so really, so when I asked you to raise your hand, that was just a visual thing. I had no idea who's it. That's not totally true. I can see the first couple of rows. And you were sitting over here, so I know I do memorize things. So you were over here, and it's either Sarah or Susan, and you came to your first consortium meeting last week. It was Georgia Society of CPAs. There's a Georgia Watch person, right? Okay, so I get some of it. But anyway, welcome, and we also, this is a two-way street. We'd love for any of y'all who don't know about us to get involved. Our annual meeting will be coming up in December. We also have John Alzheimer coming back. We already have him on the schedule for next year. We have some really good sessions planned to help equip people to go out and make a difference. So, thank you. It didn't take too long or too short.
No. Thank you. And I encourage you to find out about the consortium, join, because it's been very informing, educational. You meet people in the same space, and a lot of you know it's hard to work in this space sometimes, but on the other side, there's so much support out there from the people that are trying to make it happen that, no reason why we should be powerful. So, when I look at, what the consortium is doing, the partnerships that they have, and the wealth that they bring to the table, it only makes sense for everybody to come together. We got a lot of work to do. Georgia has a real big problem. It's going to take a real big solution. And no reason why we can't get it done. I don't know if anybody saw the report. There was two. It was like the 10 lowest in financial literacy. Okay, at least we're on that list because we are on a lot of other ones. But then